my 18-year-old sister, is trying to seduce my boyfriend. I live together with my sister. I'm 24, and so is my boyfriend. She started college this summer, and my parents asked if she could live with me. Reasons being, 1, she was going to school in the same city that I work in, and the second reason, I was looking for a roommate anyway. We're not that close, and I'm not a big fan of my parents, but I agreed. Because it seemed like a way to get us closer, you know? And she wouldn't be able to afford an apartment on her own. Every time I bring my boyfriend over to the apartment, and we hang out in the common areas, cooking dinner or watching Netflix in the living room, my sister, Hannah, deliberately seems to hang out, only in her underwear, while sometimes even wearing nylon stockings. Occasionally, she will blatantly walk into our line of sight in her thong and tank top. My boyfriend of 3 years handles it like a champ and looks elsewhere. I have explicitly told Hannah it's inappropriate to be walking around in her underwear while there's company over, especially with a man, or my boyfriend, at my place. Strange thing is, she never does this to anyone but him. I thought that not-so-subtle hint would be enough, but immediately after that, I was watching Squid Game with my boyfriend. She walks in wearing only a thong, white tank top sat next to us, while putting on her nylon pantyhose, slowly. Ugh, wow. It was so obviously wrong, and I was silently getting so angry at her. It felt like ages before she had put it on. It wasn't even a casual kind of nylons, but soft beige with black soles. You ladies know the kind you wear on Valentine's Day or special occasions, in private. After that, I waited to be alone with her, and that was the first time I directly told her to cut it out. She laughs, saying he's like family, so he shouldn't care, and she just wants to be comfortable in her own space. Whenever we go into my bedroom, she will find excuses to knock, barge in, or otherwise interrupt, sexy times or not. She'll complain that she's lonely and wants the three of us to hang out. Also, she only has this desire when she sees that we've gone into my bedroom. Or she'll make excuses as to why she needs one of us, right now. And even then, always being coincidentally something that urges the hand of a man. For example, one time she asked him to go into her room to kill a spider, or the classic jar won't open, and she needs a strong hand. I've told her about one golden rule, which is that she can't disturb us or enter my room whenever we are in there together. Still, she doesn't effing listen. Oh, you think this is bad? Well, it gets worse because sometimes I'm not at home or he's early, waiting for me. He's told me that when I'm not around, or even in the bathroom or doing something else out of earshot, Hannah will come into the room and try to initiate all sorts of casual talk with him about sex. It goes like,
"Hey, what's your favorite position?" "Oh, mine's this and that. I bet all the girls were after you before you met my sister." "Oh, by the way, how many girls have you hooked up with?" "You know, boys in my school always wanted to hook up with me. But, I'm hard to get."
Or she will try to model outfits and asks if he thinks she looks hot. One time she walked in on him brushing his teeth. She was dressed in a cheap Halloween outfit with a short skirt with nylon tights with pumpkins, and asked him,
"Hypothetically, if I were your girlfriend, would you let me wear this outside?"
He kept brushing his teeth, didn't spit his toothpaste out, as to make a statement it's not appropriate. To which she slowly tore some small parts around her knee and upper leg. Then asking him,
"Oh, and when it's a bit more rough, like this?"
According to him, he either flat out ignores her or says he's not interested in talking about this with her. Finally, I went into her room the other day to retrieve my makeup and perfume, which she keeps stealing, and saw her Facebook was open on her laptop. I noticed that one of the chats had pictures of my boyfriend in it, which is why I read it. She was chatting with her best friend, and the conversation went,
"Oh my God, he's coming over today."
Add hearth emoji.
"Can you join me this Friday to go to the mall? I have to buy something low-key hot."
Oh my God, you're crazy, girl. Isn't he old as F though? LOL.
What the F? 24 isn't old. He's so effing hot. Just, oh my God. Here, look. No cap.
She then proceeded to share pictures of my boyfriend. These were not pictures from Facebook, but taken pictures of him that he clearly wasn't aware were being taken. standing in our kitchen, napping on the couch, and even one selfie made by her of them smiling into the camera together, like some kind of crazy stalker. I told him about all of this, and ever since then, we have been together exclusively at his apartment, and I've been staying over. Ultimately, it's much nicer for us to have privacy, but I'm pissed that I have to give up my apartment to my teen sister because she has no respect for boundaries and apparently just wants to sleep with my boyfriend. For real now, I also feel like she is way too old for this crap. She's an adult of 18, not just 15. I have no idea what to do here, though. I want to chew her out, but I've chewed her out over this in the past, and apparently it did nothing. I'm at the end of my rope with her. If she wasn't my sister living in a new city, I would have kicked her out by now. As it is, I don't know if I should give her a warning or talk to my parents about it, but I know they will take her side. It is part of the reason why we aren't close. Or I can confront her with my boyfriend and have him tell her in no uncertain terms that it will never happen. Moving out isn't an option. I have a lease until next year, and I refuse to lose money and move out of my apartment because my sister can't fucking control herself. She wouldn't be able to afford the apartment on her own anyway, and would have to move out in the end too.
Your sister is 18 and is legally an adult. If she cannot respect boundaries and isn't on your lease, give her 30 days to pack her crap and go. Who cares if she gets upset or tattles to your parents? You deserve to have privacy and respect in your own home.
Yeah, I'm leading towards doing this. I just know that doing this will completely sever any ties I have with my parents and family. So I'm wondering if there's any alternative solution before disowning them. I wouldn't mind particularly, but it would kind of suck to not have a family at the same time. Even if we're not close, you know.
Give her 30 days notice that you're kicking her out. That's plenty of time for her to find a new place. I'm sure people are looking for roommates. Maybe not like her, but still. Like you said, she's 18, not 15. She's an adult, and she can figure out what to do. Lock your room, put any possessions she can break or steal at your boyfriend's house, just in case she gets busy and tries to get back at you.
Yeah, she could find roommates. But my parents, who pay her rent, have said that they won't pay for her to live with strangers. Stupid, but I guess she could find a job and make her own way like I did. Thanks for your tip. Ugh, I could definitely see her breaking my crap. Oh, and freaking out.
Well, I'll have a go at this. Your sister isn't just disrespecting your boundaries. She's attempting to backstab her own blood. I recognize that she is an immature hormonal teen, but this cannot stand. Given the living circumstances you've provided for her, she should be grateful. I recommend first sitting her down and telling her you're giving her 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, or whatever you feel is necessary to move the F out. After you've sternly told her this, call your parents and tell them that she is moving out of your place. Look for another roommate while she prepares to leave. There is no reason to be tormented or uncomfortable in your own home. None. If, as you said, you've clearly stated your feelings on the matter and she has kept this up, there is little you can do. You have clear evidence that she is infatuated with your man Candy. I hope you have a record of the conversation with her friend. Throw some cool points at your significant other from me, by the way, and you seem to be handling the situation pretty well. So take some as well.
Thank most of you for the comments. Let me say the following to answer some of yous. The reason I'm not really fond of my parents is because when I was in high school, they told me that I couldn't have a boyfriend. They said I was too young for that gibberish. Besides, my grades would go down. I secretly had a boyfriend my senior year, they found out. Then they called me a floozy and told me they weren't paying for my college anymore. Reason being, it would be a waste now since I was going to drop out and do drugs anyway. For your information, I never got in trouble with my secret boyfriend. We didn't do drugs or even did more than kissing. I graduated valedictorian and got into a great college, but that didn't matter to them. They called me all sorts of names and said I sullied the reputation of our family. I moved out and became financially independent and essentially stopped talking to them except when I had to. Things have been smoothed over. Oh, but I never forgot what they said though. When it was my sister's turn to be a teen, she was able to get away with way more than I did. because they were in complete denial that their second daughter would turn out the same way I did. Thus, she never had consequences for her actions because they would turn a blind eye, and she was their last hope and perfect daughter. They see her acting way worse than I did, but refuse to give her the same treatment they gave me because it would mean losing 2 daughters. So they just refuse to recognize the signs and are in deep denial. Just one example. She was suspended from school for 3 days for having sex under the bleachers. And she convinced them that the teachers made it up simply because they were bigots. We're Southeast Asian. I didn't want to include it initially, but I do feel like it would explain them being upset if I chose my boyfriend over family. She was never punished for that, or for a bunch of other things, whereas they called me the worst names for holding hands with a boy in my senior year. Obviously, this has caused a lot of resentment in me towards them, especially because they always take her side when we get into fights. Now, I haven't told my parents about this issue yet. We don't talk much beyond the formalities of getting rent paid, they pay for her, and etc. That's why I'm here, debating if I should tell them or not. My guess, though, is that when I tell them, they'll take her side and be like, "She doesn't know any better. You're just insecure, you're misreading things." She puts on this innocent little girl victim face and cries and acts fragile, and they always believed her. I will call them, though, and tell them that if they don't talk to her and get her to act right, then I'm kicking her out. If they won't, I'll proceed to kick her out, but there's a slim chance that they might confront her, as you say.
Royal A.I.
Thank you to everyone who responded to my last post. Even though I was seriously pissed off, as I am sure you could tell, I carefully read each comment and thought about it. Thank you all for your advice. Out of the 3 main options, talk to my parents, confront my sister, or have my boyfriend shut her down, I decided to take option 2. I contacted my parents first, which was very difficult for me, and told them about what had been going on and that I was going to kick my sister out. I said it in a no arguments way, just a statement of fact that her behavior was completely unacceptable and that I had given her many chances in talking to her about it. I said I was telling them first, so kicking her out wouldn't come out of the blue for them, and they could help her find someplace else to live if they wanted to. I did not send the screenshots of her Facebook conversation. Why, you ask? I never took the screenshots, and I didn't feel any need to prove anything to them. It really felt like my decision, whether they believed me or not. To my surprise, my parents actually believed my side of the story, though not for the reasons you would think. There had apparently been an incident at a recent family reunion that I didn't know about because I'd been unable to go. Our close cousin Arya, who is 1 year older than me, brought her boyfriend to our annual family reunion to introduce him to everyone for the first time. Apparently, Hannah shamelessly and openly flirted with Arya's boyfriend in front of everybody. Wow. In front of Arya, in front of our parents. Oh, in front of Arya's parents, all of our aunts and uncles. I don't know exactly what Hannah did, but according to Arya, who I asked about it after, she was very obvious about it. Trying to touch him a lot, sitting next to him whenever Arya got up to go somewhere else, etc. It was just brutally obvious, without shame and even reckless. Everyone witnessed it, and it was the gossip of the family for a good while. It brought such a dark energy, just negative, to everyone being present, that Arya was surprised I didn't know. My aunt and uncle, Arya's parents, were disgusted with her behavior and judged my parents for allowing Hannah to behave that way. All of a sudden, my parents cared about what she was doing, because now it was affecting their reputation with the family, the most important thing to them. So apparently, they were pissed at her for what had happened and had taken her car away for a few months prior to her coming to live here. Also, my parents don't want anything to endanger my relationship with my boyfriend because they consider him to be a catch and really want us to get married and have smart babies. So they don't want Hannah to ruin that. My parents said they would talk to Hannah and beat it into her head that she could no longer act that way and that she was close to effing up her living situation, our relationship and worse. They begged me to give her a second chance and to give her time to change once they talked to her. I told them I'd think about it, but once we hung up, I decided I didn't trust them to actually talk to her. Call it 18 years of experience of their treatment. Well, whether they talked to her or didn't, The very next day, Hannah posted something on her Facebook to the tune of,
Sometimes you can't let other people get in the way of true love.
"Ugh, add winky face." So I sat her down and decided to have a talk with her myself. I told Hannah that if she didn't cut out her behavior immediately, I was going to kick her out. I told her I knew about everything and that it sickened me that she would not only disrespect me by trying to seduce my boyfriend, but that she would freely backstab her own sister. Just to get with a guy? I told her that it made me feel disgusted knowing that she had a childish infatuation with my boyfriend, but that even if she did have feelings she couldn't help, she needed to learn how to control them like an adult and respect me, my relationship, and my home. Hannah mouthed off and said that my boyfriend was going to leave me anyway because I didn't put enough effort in looking good after him. I don't wear makeup every day, only on special occasions or on dates when I want to look nice for him, and my clothes are pretty plain. And that there were dozens of women in the city that could catch his eye. She's just there by chance, and she can't help that he has hungry eyes for her. Then she said that she didn't have to listen to me. Not like that, though. More like word for word.
Ah, go F yourself. You're not much older than me. Who do you think you actually are? Yeah, you're not my mom. I'm not a kid anymore. I can do whatever the F I want.
Surprisingly, I kept my cool and told her that was true. There were adult consequences to her actions. Consequences which could range from getting kicked out and having to move back home to getting her ass beat. She was in the real world now and couldn't get away with her crap anymore. She said I couldn't kick her out because it was illegal and that she could do whatever she wanted. And doing whatever she wanted meant being herself around my boyfriend. So I told her that she had 30 days to evict the apartment. In my state, the legal eviction process is giving someone 30 days to leave once they've established residency. She most likely, 99.9%, isn't aware of this. But I wanted to do things by the book to protect myself. Trust me, if I could have her out tonight, oh, I would. But if she found out, she'd be willing to go the extra mile. Anyway, she stormed off. I contacted the landlord and made sure that everything was square. She's not in the lease, so they didn't give a crap. Thanked me for the notice, though. I also told my parents that it was final. My sister had to be out of the apartment by the end of the month. They didn't say much and seemed stunned that she would suddenly act this way. They think the influence of the big city is causing her to act out. Sure, always something outside of her control. Well, whatever. I chose not to involve my boyfriend further because several people said that this was between us, me and Hannah. And they're right. I don't want him unnecessarily uncomfortable, forced to do something he doesn't want to do. Though he has voluntarily offered to talk to Hannah and shut her down in the past. I personally don't think it would do much to stop her anyway, given her reaction to my little lecture, so I left him out of it. However, I'm getting a small nanny cam to monitor the apartment while I'm away, to make sure that 1, Hannah doesn't break anything, and 2, to protect myself and my boyfriend, in case she decides to make any false accusations against either of us. At this point, I wouldn't put it past her. I seriously have to wonder if my sister is just a huge effing skank, as a result to being hopelessly spoiled, or if there is something going on with her. I really don't know, but I'm fed up with her acting this way, when I did her the favor of letting her live with me. So that's that. Hopefully I don't have to update again, and she moves out peacefully. Thanks all for listening to me rant. Next part I've added later on, call it a mini update. So far, I haven't heard from Hannah herself because I've been at my boyfriend's pad, but my parents tell me that she will be out of the apartment by the end of the week. Her Facebook is a whiny, crying crap storm of, "Life is not fair, no one understands me, you can't effing trust anybody, not even family, and my life is ruined." I have hidden her from my feed, and I am going to watch some more Squid Game with my boyfriend. I have already served her formal eviction papers as of today. Oh, and my boyfriend knows about everything, and I tell him about every development as it is happening. I just didn't want to involve him by making him be the one to sit her down and talk to her, instead of me. Thank you all for your suggestions. Peace out. Well, Hannah is out of my apartment. I gave her 30 days to get out, but after I told my parents that I was avoiding my own apartment until she left because I was so pissed about her tantrum, telling me to go f myself when I tried to have a reasonable discussion, They stepped up and told me they were getting her things within the week. Today, they got the last of her things out and forced Hannah out of my apartment and took her home. I have to say, my view of them hasn't improved a little because of how quickly they acted when I told them she needed to be out. They didn't fight me on it or really blame me at all. Though they didn't say much to me during the move-out process, I decided to be there to make sure Hannah didn't claim any of my stuff as hers and steal it back home. I think they're ashamed that she has done this to both my cousin and me, and are realizing how crappy her behavior is overall. In a few weeks, I will visit home and talk to them about Hannah and how this really needs to be addressed before she moves out on her own for good. I've been at my boyfriend's apartment for the week since Hannah and I had our talk, so I don't know the extent of her reaction face to face. The nanny cam showed she didn't try to destroy anything, but she did have 3 basic reactions. 1. She bitched about me a lot on Facebook, to the point where I just hid her on my feed. Eventually, it got to the point where she made a specific status saying,
My own sister is making me homeless because she's crazy and insecure. If anyone can help me, please text me.
Add sad face emoji. There were a lot of responses from her little teenage friends calling me the worst. But then my cousin, Arya, same as the one I mentioned, responded with,
Oh, stop. Don't try to make yourself the victim here. If you had self-control and the decency not to flirt with other people's boyfriends or spouses, this wouldn't happen. Grow up and have some respect.
Hannah's friends all liked the comment, and Hannah ended up not posting anymore. 2. Hannah tried to reach out to my boyfriend by messaging him on Facebook. They are not friends. We have a policy of not friending each other's family members, so they can't snoop. I told them that it was probably going to happen, so to be aware. When it happened, he told me about it right away. She wrote something like,
Hey, sister's boyfriend, can you please talk to my sister? I feel so hurt by what she's doing. I know you can convince her to let me stay. Please talk to her for me. We know each other differently. I know you. I just know you're more reasonable than she is. Between us, there will be something nice in it for you. If you do, winky face.
Ugh. So she hasn't learned anything. Thing is, my boyfriend only initially told me about it first, but it bugged me after a few hours, and I asked him if I could read it myself. Yeah, just to burn her sheer gall into my eyeballs. My boyfriend was kind of hesitant and clearly didn't expect me to ask to read it. He dithered for a while and then reluctantly let me see it. It turned out he answered her, but didn't tell me he'd responded. He said,
Hannah, your sister is my girlfriend, and it's her choice about living with you. You can't ask me to change her mind, because I fully support the decisions she makes. We're a team, so please don't ever ask me to take your side against hers again. I think it's the right call for you to go home. Also, I hope to be your brother-in-law someday, so I want to be kind. But honestly, your behavior is really unflattering. It's not attractive. I just want you to know that in the future, if you act the same way, the only guys who will find it appealing are not the guys who will ultimately make you happy or give you a fulfilling relationship. The stuff that flies in high school doesn't hold the same weight when you're older. I know you want to find a guy, but the way you act isn't going to attract anybody but the wrong people. Sorry for lecturing you, but ultimately I wanted to help you.
God, I love that man. He didn't want me to read his response because he felt embarrassed that he lectured Hannah like that. But I was over the moon, especially over that brother-in-law comment. It made a crappy week so much better for me. We're currently in the talks for him to potentially move into my apartment, replacing Hannah's share of the rent and using her room as a guest bed, or getting a new place altogether when my lease is up. 3. Before my boyfriend's Facebook message, Hannah was also texting me. At first, it was the usual vitriol, asking me how it feels to kick my only sister out on the streets. Insults here and there, saying she can't believe I'm doing this, that she'll never forgive me for this. After his message, the tune of her texts changed and got more desperate as the days went by. She began begging and pleading, saying she really needed to live in the city because it was closer to school, saying she'd do anything to stay, saying,
Oh, I promise I'll never even talk to him or look at him again. Ever. I swear I'll change. Ugh, I'll be out of the apartment all the time, and you won't even know I'm there. Ugh, I don't even like your boyfriend. So, let's just go back to normal.
I told her I'd given her a chance already, and she'd flung it in my face with a big FU. So no, if she was going to live in the city, it wasn't going to be with me. Of course, when D-Day arrived, she waited in the car throwing a bitch fit while my parents hauled down all of her stuff. So I'm not convinced this incident has really changed her in any way. So that's it, Reddit. There was not very much drama in the week leading up to her moving out. I'm going to steer clear of her for a while and keep in better touch with my parents and see how that goes, though I'm prepared to back off as soon as they do something, like regress to their old ways. Boyfriend and I are as solid as ever, and I'm glad we weathered this with no drama between ourselves. I really love him, and I'm glad this wasn't the typical Reddit scenario of they were effing the whole time, boom, mic drop type thing. So that's it. Thanks for all of your input and support.
That brings us to the end of this episode. Any advice for OP? Make sure to drop it down below. If you want to support Royal AI, you can become a member. You'll get to use unique emojis and get a badge that will become more awesome over time. Yes, these are all uniquely crafted by yours truly. Remember, my friend, all support is hugely appreciated, but don't sweat it if you can't. These episodes will always stay free. Oh, so far there are 0 members, so you might be the first one.
Thank you for staying till the end. See you in the next one.